That was good. That was peak, Arch. Uh,
Oh,
Temple looked fucking horrible. That
they
was
look
one of
so
those
not a
bad.
like
not
they
a
look
smash
oh my
spot.
they were fucking terrible. Like man.
They may
I
or
mean
may
from the
not be my
first
super dog this week.
Woo, you go
dude,
back to the well.
I was thinking about it, but I'm like, dude, I cannot keep taking these like ball sack ass teams against like dude, Georgia Tech could because they're like, dude, we'll just play their backup. That Philo kid could put like a fucking 100 on Tulane or on Temple. Their offense was so bad. It oh
Yeah, they're also going against a
man.
talent composite way far greater than theirs. So we
Casey
got to give
Yeah.
Keeler though, Arch. Have faith.
I think he ran out of his juice after UMass.
No, they smacked Howard.
That's true. God.
the on Page show the other day, he was like, Howard, like, it's not a person, but they beat them.
um, I'm just gonna let's start this up.
Yeah, let's get it going.
3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 6th episode of the Forward Pass Pod. You've got myself, Charlie. We've got Caleb Archer repping the Falcons and the Georgia gear after 2 huge wins for his teams. We've got Sam Perry after a tough weekend, and we've got Luke Duska, uh, big Elon football win, um, and a nice haircut. New cut for the show. Last week hat was on, but this week
We've been
we're back.
buzzed for a while though,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we're letting it ride now.
We're revealing it to the
Yeah.
audience. So thank you for doing that, Duska. Um, guys, what a weekend of college football. There were some ups, there were some downs, there were some things you wouldn't expect to see. We've seen SEC quarterback play do a complete 360 of what we originally thought it might be. We've seen the ACC get shaken like a tree. We've seen coaches get fired already through week 3. And man, we've had a good time covering the sport. So, without further ado, we're gonna get into the podcast, and we're gonna start it with none other than UGA going into Rocky Top, Tennessee. Friend of the program, Colin Foley's Tennessee Volunteers cannot hold off the dogs.
Enemy of the pro.
And yes, Caleb Archer, I would love you to take this away as a Dogs fan, a diehard Dogs fan. As that, how do you feel?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what a roller coaster of a game. I think I'm going to say just to start off, I don't think either team deserved to lose that game. I think both of them deserve to win in certain aspects. I don't. I think I'm going to start with the loser first in Tennessee. I think
Well,
way
this
higher of
this
them.
show does losers first.
Yeah,
So
we
Losers
do
first
losers
podcast.
first
losers
around
first
here.
pod. Losers first pod.
Tennessee is miles better than I thought they were. Their trench work, their running backs, their offense as a whole, schematic wise, was a lot less gimmicky than in years past. I think that could be in part due to a quarterback that can read a field more than like for 1 second, unlike the last guy.
How's
Yeah.
he? How's that last guy doing? By the way, have you heard
Last
anything?
time I checked, I think they were 0-3, lost to New Mexico by like 30 as a 15-point favorite. I don't know. The head coach is like he just got a guy fired. I mean, he just literally made a kid's like father just like get fired, and they're probably going to relocate, but that's on him. Yeah, Tennessee, I think a lot higher of them. Like personally, we'll get into it later. I would actually rise them in a ranking instead of dropping them after a game like that. Tennessee really impressed me. They started off hot. To Georgia, I mean Georgia. Where do you start? I mean the offense was just humming basically all day, except for 2 drives in about the third quarter when we stalled out a little bit, just satisfied for field goals, which almost lost you the game. Defense, good grief. The DBs, a lot of work to be done, and frustrating at times when the Aguilar moon balls were a success. The second one, I'd argue, was both of them were just you got a guy there making the play, you're probably talking about the game being completely different. But you had two different guys actually mess up in the same exact spot, which caused shot plays and big plays for Tennessee. So credit to them. Awesome game. I think Stockton and Aguilar both balled out. really impressive. Played better than some of the guys we'll talk about later, which is kind of funny because they were the ones that were supposed to be the greatest of all time in the SEC. And these two guys were kind of afterthoughts. So you're kind of starting to see that. But awesome win. Nerve wracking. Never trust college kickers, Tennessee. I don't know what, like, when the way you're able to move the ball, I can't fathom settling for something like that in situations like that when you could push the ball. But yeah, awesome win for Georgia.
Yeah, I just think you've got to kill the dogs. You can't let them hang around with bloody knuckles, a broken leg, blood oozing from their nose because they stay in it. And that's like a testament to the championship medal that Kirby Smart has built at that program. And I said on the podcast last week that Georgia has earned me believing in them going on the road in a hostile environment and believing in them. Um, and man, I mean, it looked bleak for a second for Georgia, but they fought. Gunnar Stockton looked awesome. Last week I also said I wanted to know what team would run the football better. And it ended up being Georgia, who ran for 193 rush yards, Tennessee only 125. Now, still, both teams ran the football effectively. Both offenses put up over 40 points. That's really impressive. My favorite play was when obviously Tennessee misses that kick, and everybody's thinking, oh boy, overtime. And then Tennessee only gets a field goal. And at that point, most of America, including me, is thinking, oh, this thing's over. And Georgia gets into 13 personnel and the ball literally they run outside zone to the left and the ball hits in the F gap because they had three tight ends lined up next to the tackle and the ball I don't even know if at letters wise it's literally the F gap. Jessica, I don't know if you have any critique of that, but the ball literally hits in the F gap. They pull a guard. He just kicks out the end man on the line of scrimmage, which ended up being the corner at that point. But and they just it explosive on the first play, and then they end up punching it in. But that was just like, oh, Kirby just doing Kirby things, Georgia doing Georgia things, and the Power G and Gunnar Stockton looked damn good. That's my national championship pick, so I feel good about that. It's good to get a win in this environment because the SEC is literally the Crusades, and bloodshed is going to happen for the rest of the way. So like the more wins you can compile early in the year, that gives you a little bit of margin for error. Because again, I think probably everybody's going to get got for Tennessee. Obviously, this is not the end of the world, but they still play a really hard schedule. So you can't. There's not. You get two more losses pretty much, maybe. Georgia, you still have two or three more losses to go as well, and you're undefeated with a huge road win. This should give the team a lot of confidence.
Yeah, I have a couple things as well. I mean, this game just felt like it was two top 10 teams just duking it out for 60 minutes, plus a little extra bonus football at the end. To me, it was very similar to the A&M and Notre Dame game. I'm sure we're going to get into that later, but they kind of played out in similar ways with both teams being really explosive on offense, and it was kind of questionable who was going to come out on top. But I don't think it's a coincidence that Georgia usually ends up coming out on top of a lot of these situations. And once it got into overtime, I think Charlie was saying it, like everyone has confidence that at that point it's probably Georgia's game to lose, and that's what ended up happening. From a Tennessee perspective, I'm just glad Josh Heupel got rewarded for moving on from Nico when he did. Once all the drama unfolded, Heupel kind of just immediately shoved him away, moved on, for better or worse, took the program in the direction it was going to go without Nico. And it just goes to show you can't treat the football gods that way. If you're Nico Iamaleava, treating your teammates that way, it's not a thing you're allowed to do without you kind of getting scorned for it. And that's just the football gods doing what they do. And then one more thing for Arch. What the hell is going on at right tackle for the Georgia Bulldogs? They they had three guys playing in this game. I still think Ernest Green is by far the best option they have at right tackle. He's a lot of starts under his belt, generally plays well in those situations. I don't know if he was hurt or got benched, but we also saw Michael Uini, redshirt freshman, Bo Hewley, redshirt sophomore. Both guys, not a lot of reps, didn't look great. I thought Hewley gave them a little more in pass protection than Uini, or however you say that. But um, if it's not Ernest Green, I guess that's who you go with. But neither of those guys seem like viable options, and it leaves you again for the second year in a row just wondering like why can't the Georgia Bulldogs, the best program in college football over the last 5 years, why can't they get the tackle position right? And we'll just have to see how it ends up playing out for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, all you guys pretty much hit everything. Great game from both sides. I think a lot of positives to take from Tennessee. Aguilar played great. Um, and another thing I really liked about Georgia, especially in the beginning of the game when they were kind of struggling to run the ball a little bit, sort of establishing a run game through screen passes and really letting their receivers kind of cook there in the middle portion of the game. One of the funniest things about this game was I kind of figured that final play was gonna happen when the kicker missed, when Holly Rowe came on and was like, he's huffing and puffing on the sidelines. He's visibly nervous. And then they did the close up to the kicker, and he was just white as a ghost. That kick never had a chance. But I mean, like you said, Dusko, it looked like two top 10 teams duking it out. I mean, Tennessee has a lot of positives to take out of that. And then going forward for them, just looking at their next few games, you have UAB, Mississippi State, and Arkansas. So three games that you should most likely be double-digit favorites in. That Arkansas game will be at home. And then I also think going forward in the SEC, it's going to be more about not losing than it is winning. You're going to have each team basically gets 2 to 3 losses, and just prolonging those 2 to 3 losses is going to be a key moving forward. So, yeah, I mean, great game, awesome top 15 matchup, which was a top 10 matchup. And I think these two teams are going to most likely be in the playoffs come January and December.
Yeah, I'm gonna go just address Duska's thing real quick. Yeah, tackle position was definitely a struggle. I think Hewley looked the best. I think Ernest got benched / hurt just because when he was hurt he wasn't playing as well.
It kind of seemed like
52 Golini, he
I
was
saw like reports that he was like hurt before the game or
yeah,
like
no, he was
maybe
on
he
the
wasn't supposed to play.
injury
Yeah.
report all week. But I think Hewlett was the guy that was in for the I guess like 3 or 4 minute drill when we scored the touchdown and then tied it. Yeah, not great. I think part of that's due because we have a pretty horrendous offensive line coach and recruiting for O-line comparatively to every other position at Georgia. It's definitely the weak link, and so yeah, we'll see. But like Sam said, Mike Bobo masterclass. If you thought otherwise, if you think he was the problem last year, you just simply don't know ball. I don't know how much longer we got to tell you, but masterclass from him, inspiring effort from the Dogs.
That ball Gunnar Stockton threw to Humphreys in the end zone
Oh,
will go down in the hearts of Georgia fans forever and ever.
beautiful.
Probably the best
And
throw of his life.
yeah, probably the best throw of
Yeah,
his life.
Fred
On
Haskins.
4th and 6 too.
Now, also in terms of Tennessee bombing all over Georgia's defense, a lot of those balls, they're you got to have a little luck to complete some of those balls that happen. I don't think teams are just going to be able to throw post where like Georgia's DBs were in position to make plays a lot of the time. So they weren't coverage bust. They were just really good plays from Tennessee receivers and just good balls by Aguilar. He puts so much air under the football. It becomes like catching a punt for a receiver. It's really hard for the DBs to play those balls in the air. But so I just wanted to shout out both the quarterback play because we saw some horrendous quarterback play this weekend, not out of this game. Speaking of some horrendous quarterback play, we're going to move into Clemson versus Georgia Tech. Last week, I came on here, guys, and what did I give? I gave a State of the Union saying, Clemson, you really need this game. You need this football game like you need oxygen. And they put out just a sad performance, just super sad, especially on offense. But I have a couple thoughts. One, I fear it's not Cade's fault. It's our own fault for labeling him. And this has been something Perry's been on and Arch has been on as well. Like for labeling him a first-round quarterback. He's in everybody's mocks as a first-round quarterback. But we haven't really seen first-round quarterback play from him. It's strictly projections. And you say, Garrett Riley, year 3. How many times do you hear that? Garrett Riley, Kate Klubnik, year 3. What a stable of weapons, yada, yada, offensive line, returning production. But we just expect too much out of him. And that's our own fault. That's my own fault. I take complete blame. I don't put I've never seen Cade play at the level we expect him to play at. So why is that my expectation? I've seen glimpses of it in the SMU game, glimpses of it in the Texas game. Other than that, rarely do you see it. Also, Dabo coming on the mic and being like, "Hey, like this reminds me a lot of the 2016 team, like selling we suck." Well, I just wanted to just preface a couple things that are different about this 2025 team versus the 2016 team. The 2016 team was so they also started the year 1-2. They built up a little equity the year before by going to the national championship and losing 45-20 in 2015 to Alabama. So they had built up equity of the fans, as well as one of the greatest college quarterbacks I've ever seen in Deshaun Watson playing quarterback for them. I feel like those two things just make the situation completely different. Whether the narrative is the same, I don't see it. The 2016 team is a much better team than this 2025 Clemson team. That's really all I got. I mean, there's nothing really to say. I'm off the wagon. The wagon's off. I got off in Buford. I said, "What's up to Mr. and Mrs. Archer?" We went to Waffle House. And yeah, that was that. I'm off the wagon. Brent Key, he's 7-1 against ranked ACC opponents. That is fucking big time. That's real big time. So again, we talk losers first on the show. Clemson sad, but wow, Brent Key, running back. Haynes King could literally win running back of the week every week if we wanted to. But that's enough of me talking about how sad Clemson is. I mean, they got Syracuse, UNC, BC, SMU by Duke. So they've got 6 games against inferior competition before they play Florida State. So I guess maybe you're 6-2 or 7-2 going into the Florida State game, and maybe I'll re-enter the wagon if I see God's work be performed on this football team.
I'm glad you said that because what is going to happen is what happens every single year where they let down against good teams and then play mediocre ACC play, dominate those games, and then get back up and do a big game that matters at the 7-2 spot like they're going to be in the whole country's fold. We could make a graphic of the Clemson cycle, and
Like
that
the
would
Steelers
be
cycle.
the cycle. Yeah, no.
We
Beat up on
are
inferior
here.
opponents.
Yeah.
They are Penn State. They are Penn State. Beat up on inferior teams and lose the games that matter.
I think they
Say
have
with a
2
little more
natties in the
pedigree.
last few
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, Penn State's had a couple like wins I respect.
I think Clemson this year is a good rule of thumb for everybody in preseason. Like, people on this podcast might have said they were going to be a national champ. We don't really focus on that here. I'm just from the media perspective of people running with the Clemson nonsense from February and all that. I never really got it that much. I mean, I thought they were going to be good. Like, obviously, I predicted them to the ACC winner. I was a little skeptical of their like high-end ability and how they scale, which is what we talked about after week 1, how they scale to better teams. I think this is a good reminder that returning production does not mean anything if your returning production did not do anything with that returning production the year before. Like, Clemson had all this returning production. Did you really want to return some of those guys? Because you saw what the result is. Like, do you really want to like bad production is not good production. I'd rather be at 0% and just get some new guys in the program. Uninspiring effort. Why are we running jet sweep fake Cade Klubnik runs every play? Your receivers were so much. It should have been a Bryant Wesco like masterclass, and instead
It was a bit.
But it was from Wesco's own doing. He took like an 80-yard slant route. It wasn't. Mm-hmm. You didn't scheme him open. Georgia Tech's DBs were the worst part of that game, you let them control it. I don't get it.
I don't think Garrett Riley trusts Cade to be like the decision maker. When have we ever seen him just like be like, "Hey, Cade, like go win us this game"? Like, I've never seen it. He's always
I think it's funny. It was Texas last year.
Coddled environments, and that was because they were down 21. So, like, you know what I'm saying? So their game plan is never like, "Hey, like we're gonna go let Cade Klubnik be Cade Klubnik." Their game plan is like, we're gonna coddle him to the point where like we can try and get our defense to win games. Like, that's what
I wonder if there's like some sort of internal gap that like no one knows about. Like if he's struggling to understand certain things.
I don't know
We're
if
as
it,
in orange. We were wearing
playbook.
purple, son.
I
I
just
mean,
I want to take a second to address the definitely bona fide worst prediction on this podcast so far. Hopefully that title gets taken by someone else eventually, but it's not my fault that I bought into the preseason Clemson hype. There was so much of it. How could you not buy in? Rookie mistake by me in predicting, but I mean this Clemson team just uninspiring, like you guys have been saying. A big thing going into this game that we didn't see in the LSU game was a little semblance of a ground game, and I thought maybe if Clemson was able to run the ball a little better, it would have opened things up, and Cade would have had a bit of an easier time. But the ground game was there this game, and
yeah,
Cade was just
Randall looked good actually. I was impressed.
yeah, and Cade was just inaccurate and out of rhythm and just didn't look good. Turned the ball over a couple times, and that's the Cade Klubnik era at Clemson is kind of defined by games like this, and it's where the team, in theory, they play well enough to win, but there's too much adversity to overcome, and they just can't do it with this group of players. And this is a losers first podcast, obviously, so we've talked about Clemson a lot. I just want to give a bit of flowers to Brent Key and Georgia Tech. They'll play their game against anyone they want, and they were able to do that again against Clemson. The QB ground game, it's their bread and butter. Haynes King, 25 carries, 103 yards. And I just want to read a quote from Brent Key from after the game in his press conference. He said, "When you start building a program and build your foundation in toughness, that's not an easy thing to do. It's one thing to say, it's another to live it every single day. Toughness isn't about fighting people. Toughness is a mental aspect to the way you approach every day." And you see that in the way Georgia Tech plays. You see that in their way they're able to control the ground on offense. They have a clear identity. They know what they want to do. And it translates into wins in these games against big ranked ACC teams, like you said. And that's a team with an identity. And you look at Clemson on the other end of that, there's none of that there. And it's just an awesome win for Brent Key. And this Georgia Tech team, they don't play FSU, they don't play Miami. There's a lot of opportunity for them there, and I'm excited to see how they take advantage of that.
Duska, one thing.
Question.
Wait, let me. You go first.
You go.
Sorry.
And
No, no.
mine's like a dumb hypothetical.
Oh,
ahead.
mine is just to go. Duska, cogent analysis. I love what you said. Another thing that I want to point out, Archer said when we were doing like the ACC previews on our first podcast. He was talking about how although I was like they lost Eric Singleton Jr. He was their best weapon last year, and Arch said Eric Rivers, the FIU transfer, could he possibly fill that role? And Eric Rivers was awesome. He had 3 catches for like 70 yards, but they were massive, one-on-one. Like a lot of the Haynes King stuff, like he's not gonna like just pick you apart, but he can throw up when you play man coverage because you're trying to stop quarterback run. He can throw up the ball, and Eric Rivers made some awesome plays. So Georgia Tech deserved to win that game. They took that game from Clemson.
Yeah, I was gonna say just one last thing because you mentioned Clemson's ground game. I thought it impressed me. I thought one of the more underrated plays of the game. I think one of the biggest, if Clemson was able to win that game, was that like 3rd and 18 Randall run in the first half, like before the half.
Great run.
Because that scored a touchdown and that like kind of made it to where you had a little bit of belief. But I don't know, like I thought Georgia Tech played a great win for Brent Key and them. If I was gonna say like, do I feel better about Georgia Tech now or do I feel worse about Clemson? I just think I feel worse about Clemson. Like I don't think Georgia Tech did anything that crazy. I just think it was so sad to see Clemson like that. Like I think Georgia Tech is like there's some improvement, but I'm not saying like because they beat Clemson they're going up like this. I just think it's more a reflection on Clemson as a whole this year. But awesome win.
Georgia Tech's solid, but it's not like they're
that's what I'm like saying.
It's a national championship.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, you know exactly what they are.
They throw a 92-mile-per-hour fastball every game.
Yeah.
With a decent movement. They won't top out anywhere near the upper 90s, but they will give you a solid performance. Sam, what's your hypothetical?
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say one before I say this. Yeah, I was gonna say like if they were to get into a playoff game against like an Oklahoma or someone that can take the top off them, I just don't see like that game that they played against Clemson was like the exact style of game that needs to happen for them to win. Those like 24-21, 17-14 type slugfest games where like they obviously are not gonna be able to get into like a shootout or something against a superior team. But I will say, when I was watching South Carolina and Florida have pretty uninspiring efforts, mostly on the Florida end, like I just kept thinking, like with the likely firing of Napier, I really am interested to see how Brent Key has talked about in the offseason for some of these
Mm.
big time job openings that are likely to happen.
Do you think there's any
Whether it's,
chance that Georgia Tech ponies up some money, keeps him?
well, I mean,
Cool if they did.
Florida has infinitely more money than they do.
I understand, but I don't know. I wonder if you're right though.
And I'd assume that they have the alumni base at Georgia Tech, right?
Because the way I think about this Georgia Tech is we're talking about the first evolution, and this is an awesome evolution. If they are able to keep Brent Key around, the next part of the evolution is they don't have to win games a certain way. They
Right.
are explosive. Dude, they're put in a gem of a recruiting spot. Now they do have to compete with a lot of like again Georgia, but you know, Pate talked about this today. How he was like, how could there not be 25 guys to fill each freshman recruiting class and to play football at Georgia Tech and like not be good because they're in such a good recruiting spot. So the next, if they
The
could
same as
keep
the other Texas schools, like they still get their
exactly,
pick. Yeah.
yeah, and so um, if
The
they,
next
I would
evolution is them not needing Haynes King to carry it 25 times to win a game.
yes,
That's what,
yes,
yeah,
and
that's what
having
it is.
the
Yeah.
next evolution is can we get an NFL
The NFL
quarterback
court.
and do we have NFL a little couple more NFL guys on the roster? Because I do think the one offensive lineman, I'm forgetting his name, he's the man.
Healing Rutledge.
Yes, NFL guy, no doubt. There's probably some NFL scattered around there, but I wonder if we could find a little bit more. Yeah, that 3 years from now, Georgia Tech might be truly something to mess with. Like
But if
truly,
you're Brent Key
maybe.
and Florida calls in March, you are saying yes.
Here's my thing though. How many how many of the SEC jobs are really good jobs? Because you're going into a buzzsaw. Like dude, again, Pate talked about this today. I thought it was a good point. For every, there's no Maryland's in the SEC. So, look at Florida's schedule. What were they supposed to do? The best case scenario, they go 7-5. Like, and so when you go to Georgia Tech, you have access to virtually the same recruiting grounds, yet you get to play in a far inferior conference. Now, again, school, I don't know how much money they're going to be able to pay you. If Florida offers you 15 million a year and Georgia Tech says 12.5, like what's that difference to you? That's kind of the question. But I think you could still build a solid program and with far higher job security. Like if you go to Florida and you're between uh 5-6 and 8-4 for 4 straight years, like they probably just fire you again. They'd fire Dan Mullen. So how good are these SEC jobs? How good of a job is Florida? Is it better than 6 other SEC schools? Because I'd argue probably not.
Yeah, but I also
Yeah, I
think
don't,
well, I think like Florida obviously has more resources than Georgia Tech in terms of just money, facilities, etc. Probably arguably the same recruiting base. And also like if you're these guys aren't taking a job, I would imagine they're like you bet on yourself and you say, I built this at Georgia Tech. I can with this similar foundation, I can use this with extended resources to now build a national championship contender at Florida because I'm able to. Like, is he going to be able to do that at Georgia Tech? Probably not. He's also not taking a job like, oh, I don't know about the job security. Like that, you bet on yourself a little
We'll
bit when you
see
take
though,
these leaps.
depending because Miami could be a legitimate, viable play like national championship contender this year. So maybe Mario Cristobal builds that blueprint. Obviously, Dabo had the blueprint in the ACC, but what were you saying, Arch? I want to hear what you said.
Brent Key's a Georgia Tech alum from football, so I just doubt he's going to leave his. I mean, I don't think he would leave for any job. Truly, like right now, I don't see him leaving in the next 3 years because, as you've seen with some other guys that may or may not have gotten fired or will be getting fired this year, it's not always greener pastures when you go to a bigger school that pays you more money. Like Napier saw at Sunbelt Billy won a Sunbelt title at Louisiana. They thought he could coach in the SEC, and you kind of see where that's going. So I think he'd be ill-advised to jump ship right now, especially when Tech can be a viable top 3 team in the ACC for the foreseeable future until they probably abandon and go to another conference. But that's probably 5 to 10 years down the road.
Damn, great hypothetical question, by the way. Good conversation. And with
I
that,
literally, that's the whole thing I kept thinking about because
yeah,
obviously I'm sitting around just casual central and they're
yeah,
like, fire beamer. Like, all right, let's calm down a little bit. But
yeah,
I was thinking about on the Florida front for him.
yeah, yeah. What with that, we'll go to the next game. I'm gonna let Luke Duska take the keys of this one. We're
Beamer.
discussing Notre Dame, Texas A&M. The floor is yours, Luke.
What a football game. Aggies walk into South Bend, take a close game, final score 41-40. And this is just why we love college football. The red zone sequence at the end of the game, that's everything you could ever ask for in a big game like that. So many times where Notre Dame is just on the very edge of putting the Aggies away right there. And then finally, Marcel Reed is able to connect with his tight end on 4th and 11 or 4th and goal from the 11 to take the lead, go ahead and win that game. And I mean, poor Ty Buckner. He's going to receive a lot of blame for this loss, but there's a lot of other areas where you can point fingers at some more glaring issues for Notre Dame and where down long run could be a lot more significant than Ty Buckner just fumbling a snap. The story of the game for me is the explosive passing attack from Texas A&M. Marcel Reed, he was operating out of pretty good pockets all day. Mario Craver, Casey Concepcion, they were all over the place for the Aggies. Reed was 17 for 37 and averaged 21.2 yards per completion, which is just unbelievable. Mario Craver had 7 receptions for 207 yards. And the Aggies did a good job of running the ball pretty effectively, too. And they kept that threat alive throughout the game. 32 carries, 128 yards. Le'Veon Moss was a weapon on the goal line and in short yard situations. And this Aggies O line, like I said before, Reed had great pockets all night. They were really good in short yardage. They returned all 5 starters from last year. Elko has been giving them a lot of praise throughout spring and early fall, and they did a really good job handling a stout Notre Dame front. This is a huge win for Mike Elko and company as he tries to revive this Texas A&M program, and just really impressive that they were able to do that on the road. From a Notre Dame perspective, I still think this team's a top 10 team. They showed a lot of improvement on the offensive line from a protection standpoint. They ran the ball effectively again versus another really good defense. And what do you know? When Jeremiah Love gets more carries and more touches, like good things happen to you on offense. I thought CJ Carr was really good again. He got a little unlucky on that pick at the end of the first half, and the Aggies were able to score going into halftime off that pick. And then he took a bad sack at the end of the half, too, where they were in field goal range and potentially could have scored points there. Um, but I love this Notre Dame receiving core. Jeremiah Love is a weapon. And I was really impressed. There was probably like 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter when they got the ball, and they were able to just march down the field methodically, punch it in, take the lead. Um, but like I said, that Notre Dame secondary, they were getting gashed all game. That's definitely going to be a longer term concern. Leonard Moore was good. Drake Bowen stood out for me from that Notre Dame defense, but definitely some questions to be answered in that secondary. And just putting a bow on everything, I'm a Marcus Freeman believer through and through. I think this team can win big games at the end of the year, and the margin for error is gone. They have to run the table to make the playoffs. But I mean, I kind of have confidence based off playing two really good teams that probably profile as top 10 teams, going to the brink with both of them. Um, that's a good sign for the potential of this Notre Dame team. They just need to use this runway now where the schedule gets a little lighter to figure some things out in that secondary, and then figure out what their edge is and how they can take control of these games against good teams and finish them off.
Yeah, that was a great recap, Duska. Not much. No, I don't have a ton else to add. Um, Dude, Casey Concepcion and Mario Craver, what great gets! What great gets for Texas A&M. They took the game over. Um, I thought now this it was a the problem with Notre Dame's defense is they have some NFL guys who are really good at football. Leonard Moore being maybe one of the best cornerbacks in the country. He's number 15 if you're watching the game. And then Schuler, number 8, their safety. He's a captain. He's awesome. And then Drake Bowen's also a captain, number 34, a linebacker. He was making every play. Now, Stroman, number 7, Virginia Tech transfer, really struggled. He got caught out of position a couple times. He got caught guarding Mario Craver in the slot a couple times. They also struggled at the second cornerback position, Christian Gray, who, if you don't remember Christian Gray, he's number 6. He was 29 last year when Jeremiah Smith beat him on a big third down in the national championship. He's not a bad player by any stretch of the imagination, but they do have a very precipitous drop off from the top tier NFL talent to guys that teams look to take advantage of. That's going to be something they're going to have to just keep trying to band-aid up. That you have that in college football. That's really because not all your team's going to go play in the NFL. But Marcel Reed, he was spectacular. He was that good. I'm gonna give you guys my SEC QB rankings in a little bit, but yeah, he's somewhere near the top. From just the games we've watched so far, he's played really well. And people were saying he might not even be able to go for this game. So obviously he probably wasn't feeling 100%. That's like just the gutsiest performance I've seen from. He was spinning the rock, like spinning the rock. I mean, yeah, from watching him last year to watching him this year, it's like two completely different quarterbacks, which says a ton about Texas A&M's football program. The fact that they're able to develop quarterbacks, because we've seen other quarterbacks. Again, we haven't seen a lot of development from Cade Klubnik. Quarterback development is super hard. It's a very niche thing. Like it takes a lot of scheme, like the same scheme being in the same place, good coaching, good players around you. But yeah, Marcel Reed was spectacular. That was awesome to watch. And I thought CJ Carr was really good too. Another good. He might be really good in a couple of years. That's something like Notre Dame. Like you're a huge Marcus Freeman guy, Duska. So am I. But I think they got something brewing. Now they are 0-2, but they don't really play all that many good teams. So they are going to have a little bit of a runway to go.
Yeah, I think as a South Carolina fan, Marcel Reed, the way that he's been playing for these first 3 games is kind of everything that we hope to see from Lenoris, and how he's just developed as a passer through these 3 games. I was so impressed with him, and I think this was just the type of win that A&M really needed to propel them forward, um, as a real SEC contender, going here in 2025. I think that with the way that their schedule works out, and they kind of have pretty favorable next 5 matchups, it's off and running for A&M, and I really think that this team should be the favorite outside of Georgia right now. I think they've looked the best as a total body of work throughout 3 games. And I think this is such a gutsy win going into Notre Dame, pulling it out down the stretch. Your quarterback made amazing plays. So huge credit to A&M, huge credit to Elko. Talking about Notre Dame, like, I mean, people are complaining that they're ranked as an 0-2 team, but like you've lost to 2 really tough games, to 2 arguably top 5 teams. I think A&M being number 10 is ridiculous, but yeah, they gotta win, and Cloud was talking about it today. They just gotta root for like USC to keep winning, and obviously not Pitt, but like NC State. So they just need some of their games on the stretch to mean more, and they should get in at 10-2.
Yeah, kind of going off y'all. Reed played a great game. I kind of like the way that A&M kind of treats throwing the football, and I like the way Reed does with this, like, it's kind of like boom or bust, like home run or strikeout, and I kind of like that style. I mean, he was below 50% completion, but it doesn't matter when you're throwing it for like 21 yards of completion, and you have 2 guys that are over 75 yards and one guy that's over 200. Especially with the weapons you have at A&M. I mean, their running back room is awesome, but their receiver room is even better. Offensive line play is stout for them. Just an awesome game for A&M. Awesome win. Probably the first signature win of Elko, where you're just like, you're finally seeing what A&M should have been under Jimbo, and kind of seeing that come to fruition, especially in South Bend after they kind of just pantsed you at home last year. Like the score was close, but they dominated you, so it was cool to see it kind of go the other way this year.
Hey, Arch.
Yeah.
You have the UF LSU game. Take us right into that.
Oh boy, where do I even start? This is genuinely one of the worst football games I watched this weekend. So LSU basically begged Florida to win this game so that they could finally get their letdown moment after rising to the occasion and beating Clemson. And Florida refused. I mean, in a game where you had basically all the momentum early after weeks, LSU's All-American linebacker gets ejected from kind of a BS targeting call, first drive of the game, I believe. You had all the momentum at that point. You're up 3-0. You had a play that go up 10-0, but then it got called back for a holding, which if they were going up 10-0, they were winning that football game. Instead, you don't. LSU scores, and it's kind of a back and forth. And then LSU turns the ball over like twice, punts it back to you, doesn't do anything. Florida's defense played a fantastic football game. One of the better defensive performances I've seen. Kind of boxed LSU. Went pound for pound of them in the trenches. Matched their physicality, probably even better than them. One downside, your quarterback threw 5 interceptions, and not 5 like tip passes, 5 interceptions to hit the defensive back in the numbers. It was like he was aiming it. It was pitiful. Pitiful from the quarterback that was the 5-star, the guy that came in and revived Napier's career, was going to be the best quarterback in the country. I mean, I'm at a loss of words. I don't understand why you're letting him throw the ball 49 times in a game like that. Because LSU, like I said, they were begging you to win. They were begging you to win that game. Turnovers when it mattered, not being able to convert at all. Like this 3 and outs. I feel like Florida's offense was on the field the entire game, and it probably hurt them because that meant Lagway had the ball in his hand more. Just not great. People are going to blame Napier. What are you supposed to do when your quarterback throws 5 interceptions? I mean, I'm literally on the box score right now, like looking at everything, and they're playing a highlight of one of Lagway's 5 interceptions. Like every single time you looked up, you thought it was a replay because they were showing another interception. You thought they were showing the last one. Inexcusable, bad, probably cost Napier's job. He's probably going to get fired after this Miami game. Just expect more from him. Not great. LSU didn't play that good. I have nothing really to say about LSU. Kind of think they're overvalued now, but just a very football game. So that's what I got to say about that.
Arch, I didn't get to watch the game live, or not all of it, so I was watching the highlights, and my first note was because early in the game, Lagway made a few plays, and I was like, oh, Lagway shows brilliance, but like he's inconsistent, and that was like the first note I took about the game. And then you just keep watching the highlights, and you're like, pick one, like I get it. It's a tough start. And then pick 2 happens, you're like, oh goodness. And then pick 3 is like he's deer in headlights. Like the confidence is so far gone. Like so far gone. There's no need for him to throw the football anymore. But then pick 4, literally Hail Mary to the defense. Like just Hail Mary to the defense. You're like, wow, this is getting like out of hand. And every time he gets the ball back, they're not out of the game. It's like, okay, if we
that's what I kept saying. It was like they were literally like LSU was like, please beat us. Like,
beat us. And then it's like the worst pick you've ever seen, one after the other. The 5th pick, and then the 5th pick happens. You're like, wow, that you can't even write something as hilarious as the picks he was throwing. And I think Lagway will be good. 2 things about Lagway. One, let's use his legs a little bit more. Like he's a young quarterback. Like obviously he was seeing ghosts out there. Like let's try and get him a little confidence using his legs. Second, just hand the football off. Hand it off. You've got a good offensive line. They're averaging 4 yards a carry. It's not like we're not running. It's not like they're not running.
They ran the ball pretty well, which was
very effectively. Very effectively. It was unbelievable to see. So I'm not saying Billy Nate, like you deserve to get fired coaching a game like that. Your staff as a whole deciding the game plan, saying and the in game as you're watching your quarterback see ghost and it be completely over. And just being like, you know what? 4 verts. Read it out. Like, all right, coach.
The 4th interception was genuinely, and he shouldn't even be in a position to throw. Like
Dude,
you should have been running the ball.
There's 3 guys.
If nobody'd seen it, 2 guys are basically like running in line with the Florida receiver. There's a safety over the top, and the ball like literally flies past everybody and just hits the safety in the numbers. In the end zone.
Well, the third pick. It was
like he was throwing target at like the Pro Bowl.
It was a javelin. He literally javelin to the other team. The third pick was like slant ball. He gets the football, stares at the slant for 2 seconds. The linebacker is screaming to the window, and as the linebacker gets to the window, he sees it, adjusts his target to hit him in the face mask, and then pick six. And then like it was honestly not that good of an effort to tackle the guy. Like it was really bad. It was really bad.
Yeah, the more I'll talk about this game, the more I'll get like upset about how
Because
like
LSU
I
doesn't
hate I
deserve to
hate
win this
Florida
game.
and LSU did not deserve to win that. Like if you're in the success rate and analytics, Florida had like a better success rate by 0.2. The problem is that you had 5 interceptions. Like, man, just
Yeah, I mean, as a
horrible.
Florida super dog holder and Florida money line ticket holder, that was pretty disappointing. I think like there doesn't need to be much analysis about this game other than like how do you even let your quarterback be in the position to throw 5 interceptions? Like that should be the point blank only question being asked about this game. Just ridiculous. And then on top of that, Florida gets rewarded with a college game day appearance this week, so which is pretty cool. I mean, yeah, not an inspiring effort by LSU, but that's kind of what we expected. Just a classic Brian Kelly letdown spot. But they found a way to win, and in the SEC, I think we're going to find this out week by week. Wins are more important than anything, no matter how it happens. Just win every week, and so LSU did that, whether or not it was at the expense of 5 interceptions. So, I mean, what was a positive to take out of that game was it was a really funny morning on Twitter. A
True.
lot of good Lagway memes on Twitter.
Yeah.
There was one I think it was in the second quarter. Florida was backed up pretty deep into their own end of the field. And it ended up being a holding call on Florida's left guard. But Lagway threw a bomb to like a wide open receiver. And I took a note on that and just Lagway arm is pretty impressive when he doesn't have to read the defense. Um, which is true. And
Yeah.
I think that kind of leaves me with the biggest takeaway for me from a Florida perspective is Billy Napier's probably the Florida Billy Napier era is probably coming to an end. So the biggest question is how does Lagway respond to this? Is he resilient and does he learn from this, or does he respond negatively and let things kind of spiral downhill from here? Because we've seen his flashes of talent. I think with a better coach who can utilize his strengths a little more, he could be a really good player, like Charlie was saying earlier. But
I believe.
there's a mental aspect to it too, where you throw 5 interceptions. Everyone, that was a nationally televised game. Everyone saw that. There's no hiding from your 5 picks. So how do you respond to that? And can you pick yourself up and play next week with that out of your mind and ready to keep improving? And then from an LSU perspective as well, my big preseason question about this team was the offensive line, and it's completely reversed for me. I think this offensive line is really solid, and they played really well in these 3 weeks so far, especially from a protection standpoint. And the question is flipped for me to the LSU passing attack. Nussmeier wasn't very impressive, pretty inaccurate, and made some questionable decisions like the pick he threw on the third and forever around midfield. That was horrendous. They were 4 for 14 on third down. So they have a lot of questions and things to improve on from a pass game perspective. But overall, the question about their offensive line and the inexperience there has been answered for me. And I think with this defense and with the trenches and run game that they do have, I think that the pressure is going to go back on Nussmeier. A lot of hype about him going into the preseason. Can he elevate his game and this passing attack to match the level of the rest of the team? That's the biggest question for me going forward. And he'll have to answer the questions because they play an SEC schedule. So
Yeah, I think going off Nussmeier's interception, I just think he's lucky Lagway threw 5 interceptions because his was.
it was
If you haven't watched the
horrendous.
clip, you should just like. It looks like something you threw on like NCAA at like 2 a.m. Like, but it was like there was no risk reward because it was at the line of scrimmage. Like I don't. He's just lucky you had a guy named DJ Giveaway on the other side, but Like we
There was
said
also
on the
like
pod,
a penalty on that play too, where it wasn't
yeah,
going to count either.
yeah. Like we said on the pod, this is an absolutely a game that LSU with Brian Kelly would lose, and they should have. So really, nothing changed in my mind. They should have lost this football game but they didn't take into account the quarterback they were playing and his efforts for their team. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's really all you could say about that football game. But there was another football game played in Williams-Brice Stadium, and this stadium I've been twice. It's an awesome atmosphere. Usually when you play a road game at night in Willie B, you are in for a treat. That was not the case when the Vanderbilt Commodores, yes, you heard me correctly, the Vanderbilt Commodores went into Williams-Brice Stadium and beat the Cox 31-7. Absolute splattering. Um, Cox Nation, they may have to, and me, who had South Carolina in the playoff, may have to reset some expectations possibly. Um, but we do have a South Carolina alumni on this podcast, which is wonderful in times like this when I could really use some confidence. And if that's not what you're going to give me, that's okay. If that's not what you have to give, but I'm excited to hear what you have to say as an avid fan, maybe the best one in the country.
Okay, so now with about 48 hours to digest this catastrophe of a football game, I've come to some thoughts. I'm going to start out with just a quick recap. We all watched the game, and you're hearing a lot on the internet about this and that, and Lenore's going out. But I think the number one stat of the football game, that the only thing that people should be looking at is the final score, 31-7. Play calling doesn't matter when you lose 31-7. The defense being bad doesn't matter when you lose 31-7. The backup quarterback being in does not matter when you lose 31-7. Combination of all these things caused the final score, and this team, Pate said it, is very hollow. They've lacked an identity since the first game. This alleged high-powered offense has scored 27 offensive points outside of the first two drives of the Virginia Tech and the Vanderbilt game. So 27 points, and 17 of them happen to be against SC State. So this offense has really struggled, obviously, and going forward, there's a lot of questions. My number one concern with the program right now and the way that it's moving forward is you put a lot of time and effort and resources into getting these quarterbacks like Aaron Noland and Carter Woods. So the fact that Doty was the option here in a 14-7 game is really, it's actually more alarming than it is questioning, because like there's obviously a reason that those two guys weren't in. That being said, going forward, I do think that it has to be Cutter Woods or Aaron Noland on Saturday if Lenoris isn't able to go. But I'm having a quick internet. Hold on, give me 1 second. Having some internet issues. Having some internet problems.
That's okay. That's okay. I'll pick it up where you left off until you get back.
No. Hold on. I think I'm back. I think I'm back. But that being said, we are not ready to jump ship Gamecock Nation. Okay. The thing that we pride ourselves on as fellow Cox is us playing in the mighty Southeastern Conference. And what comes every week in the mighty Southeastern Conference? Another opportunity. And that's what you have this Saturday at Missouri, in the other Columbia, backs against the wall, 13.5-point dogs. Everyone's talking bad about you. But what has South Carolina done historically under Shane Beamer following horrific losses? Let's jog our memory back to last year after getting blown out in your own barn against Ole Miss. The week after, come ready to play against Bama in a game that you arguably should have won. After getting pounded by UNC and Charlotte, they go into Georgia and play them down to the wire in Caleb Archer's house. The season will be back on after the Gamecocks take an emphatic victory on the road against Bo running back Tribula in Missouri, and Gamecock Nation will be back. But in all seriousness, every week is a new opportunity in the SEC. Let's forget about it. Let's battle this week. You got woken up last week, but like we said, it's about accumulating wins and keeping that loss total under 3. So let's go week by week. We're fine.
Well, very good. Very good. I'm impressed. what I had to say about this game, I did think Vanderbilt dominated the line of scrimmage. That was evident from the jump. I will say Lenore's went down due to unblocked pressure. There was a lot of unblocked pressure, and then when Luke Doty got in the game, it was even worse. They just heated him up. And how do you think they're able to heat teams up? Why do you think they're able to heat South Carolina's up? Because they can hold up in man coverage on the back end. And why are they holding up on man coverage on the back end? Because nobody's really answering the bell in the receiver room at South Carolina. That was kind of an issue going into the season. People talked about it hasn't looked all that great. Teams are playing man coverage and just bringing the house, especially when Doty was in. You could tell just how uh, inept the offense looked without Sellers. This is a Lenore Sellers football team, so he better get healthy quickly because they're going to need him if they're going to go on a run, like Sam's saying, and they're going to go win a couple SEC football games. The one thing I want to say about Vanderbilt, and the one like as I'm watching the game unfold, the one like thought I had was, Pavia does like make some crucial throws or he makes some good runs, but I think the best compliment I can give Diego Pavia is like he's such a good college football game manager. Like that's what he does. He's like the best version of a college football game manager. He does make one or two like bad bonehead plays a game. Like he's pretty aggressive, but he can make. He's not doesn't have the greatest arm. He makes big third down throws. He's not the fastest guy out there, but he's super tough and he can run and he can move. Um, you always have to account for him as a runner. And in man coverage, he was slicing up South Carolina as well. So, and I think Clark Lay knows that. Like he knows, hey, I have kind of just a really good college football game manager, um, you know, on my roster. They played to that strength and they ran the rock. I thought that was really impressive. A really impressive win from Vanderbilt, um, just running the rock. One thing, Vandy goes. This could be a cool spot for Vanderbilt. Maybe something they've never ever been in. Their next games are Georgia State and Utah State, and then at Bama. So hypothetically, they could be 5-0 heading into Tuscaloosa. And that would be a pretty cool storyline. They will probably be ranked at that point if nothing happens against Georgia State or Utah State. But um, that was a big win, really big win for Vanderbilt. SC, like you said, Sam, they're at Mizzou, then they're home versus Kentucky, and then they're home against LSU. Um,
At LSU.
was it at LSU? At LSU. If you win those three games, season is back on, like it never left. So you're right. There's a lot of hope to be had.
Yeah, it's a big if.
They're in wounded animal mode though, until further notice. Wounded animal mode, Cox.
Yeah, quick like thing about the game though. I will say the a main issue that I have with the way that South Carolina has been operating the past 3 weeks is it seems like they're trying to make Lenoris into a pocket passer and not really letting him play his own style. Like if you watch Vandy, they let Diego just play backyard football. Like if you watch the end of last season when they let Lenoris get out of the pocket and really move around, that's when he's at his best. And it seems like Shula is really trying to make him into this pocket passer that he's not. And I think that kind of just goes back to this offense not really having an identity. And it could all circle back to this offensive line not being good enough for them to do anything. So I don't know. We'll see. Defense needs to get better. But like at a total yards perspective, like we outgain them. It's just when you turn the ball over 4 times, you're not going to win a football game, especially at home, and no matter who's playing quarterback. So got to be better. Sometimes this could be a wake up call though, and they played well after these bad types of losses. So we'll see.
You guys
Yeah, if
got
I had to
anything?
comment anything, I would say offense is like extremely anemic. I think the loss of Simon, y'all's tight end, and Sanders, and I don't even know if y'all lost any receivers, but it just feels like there's some juice missing in the skill players. Um, and combined with play calling, like you said, to kind of turning Lenoris into something he's not a really good recipe, especially for a team that's like I feel like Vandy's always in wounded animal mode, no matter if they have a loss next to their name or not. They always just play like it's the last game they've ever played, especially Diego. I mean, he throws probably like 5 "What are you doing?" passes a game, but he also does like 10 pretty cool plays. So, I mean, his last game probably should have been like 2 years ago, but I mean, he still keep playing. So we'll see. Yeah. Uh, I think offense has got to change a little bit if South Carolina wants to muster up a good season again.
Duska, you got anything or no?
Not much. Just impressed by Vandy's physicality. Obviously, losers first podcast. It's a shame that Lenore's went down. To be honest, like this South Carolina team's not that fun to watch without him. Um, but so I hope they can get him back. And I mean, Sam got me fired up. I still believe they just need to, clean a few things up, have their guy be
Basically every
healthy.
all three phases of the ball, but
Doable though. And
yeah, we'll see.
yeah,
It's going to be a tough test.
Yeah. Moving on to another game that of me and Sam's team of rooting interest. The Pitt Panthers played the West Virginia Mountaineers in the backyard brawl, which is the coolest name out of any rivalry game. Besides America's game, Army Navy. No, I actually like backyard brawl better. But abysmal start for Pitt. They go down 14-0. Then for some reason, WVU brings Scotty Fox into the game. Nico Miracle was like playing pretty well. They bring Scotty Fox in the game. He goes 1 for 4 and throws 2 picks, and all of a sudden, oh shit, Pitt's back. And we were up 24-14 with under 6 minutes to play. Desiree did get hurt, which I mean, he's one of him and Poppy Williams are our only explosive players. And dude, the rushing stats are insane. WVU rushed for 174 yards. Pitt ran for 46.
Well, take out the 60 some, but yeah.
Okay. You got to count. This is college football. They get sack yardage too. So like, I mean, that's insane. I mean, just in a rivalry game where you have the program that's been there forever. The Dews Cruz has been there for, I don't even know. When did Pat Narduzzi get hired? After Paul Christ, right?
15, I believe.
15, yeah.
15 or 16.
So he's got all these years of recruiting composite talent. They got a ton of returning production. Rich Rod brings in 70 new dudes. They just lose. They get beat by a MAC team the week before, and then they outrush you by 130 yards. It's just, I don't know. I'm not a huge Pat Narduzzi guy. Me and my dad talk about this all the time. Like, I think Pitt plays good defense most of the time, but they've been pretty average for a while. The Kenny Pickett ACC year was awesome. I loved being in college. I loved that I got to see them beat Wake. But other than that, there's just not much. There's not much to say about Pitt. Poppy Williams I liked him. I mean, Rashad Murray at corner, number 18, like 2 egregious holding calls where he's in position and he just tackles the guy. It's like you could just look back and play the football. That was bad. Those are my notes. The overtime, like first play happens. It's 2nd and 10. I forget what the first play was. 2nd and 10. We basically throw a pick. Eli Holstein throws it to the other team. The other guy drops it. I was like, all right. 3rd and 10. We take a 24-yard sack, and then on 4th and 33, we don't convert that. What's your play call, Arch? 4th and 33.
Not what Holstein threw. That was the worst. That was one of the worst situational throws I've ever seen.
My mom was asking me. My mom was like, who was he throwing to? And I was like, honestly, I think there was a guy in like a white shirt on the sideline that he must have like, I swear, like right on the sideline.
No, he was throwing it away. He was just throwing it away on 4th and 33.
That's what I'm saying. I think he actually
Well, dude, there was that tight end that was like had like a chance.
What?
Like there was that tight end on the sideline that like if he caught it, he had like probably 6, like he probably had like 10 yards to get, and he was probably going to be met with guys at 5. So, but I mean, I think
the ball didn't even come close though.
Holstein might be the only.
I think that's more of a reflection of Holstein.
I think he could be the quarterback in the history of football to get intentional grounding on 4th and 33. There was no receiver in the air.
Yeah, I was about to say there was no receiver. It's like, you might as well just throw it up at that point. I thought Holstein actually played okay though. He had no run game. He threw for over 300 yards. He had no run game. Made some cool throws to Poppy Williams. Like, it's not a Holstein game. This is just a Pitt program. You're just mediocre game.
Charlie, like, so were you playing during the Pitt game?
Yeah, I had to watch the highlights.
I had the displeasure of watching the entire game.
Oh,
like Holstein might be the most like misleading stat line of all time. Is 303 yards. He came in for the listeners. Eli Holstein, 303 yards. Sounds like a great game. But for those that watch game, like, dude, he was missing guys left and right. Like, just some atrocious quarterback play. And
I know,
that is
but the
reflected.
Poppy, he had some good Poppy Williams throws.
It is
I
reflected
give
by
him
his
that.
whopping QBR of 28.5 against a West Virginia team
What?
that just lost to a Maxwell. Yes.
Never mind. I mean, I didn't think he played awesome. I just thought I don't think he was the problem. I mean, when you run for 46 yards, again, this is just the problem with Pitt that we're always going to run into. It's just they're just not that good.
And
They're just
here's
not that
something
good.
else for you, Charlie. Does the name Rodney Gallagher ring a bell?
Yes, it does.
Do you know
That's
where he went
Ronnie's
to high
friend.
school? You know where he
Yeah,
went to high school?
he went to Laurel Highlands, right?
Where is that not in Pitt's backyard? Like, shouldn't
Uh,
they?
well, dude,
Recruit
actually, it's
Pitt?
in Uniontown though, Sam. And Uniontown is
I
technically
know,
closer to WVU, I think.
but he's a whippy old kid.
He is. He is. He
That's
is.
like, I think this is the number one problem with Pitt. I have it right here. Like, I think the Narduzzi time is done. He doesn't recruit the Whippy well. He doesn't recruit his own state well.
How
He
can you
gets
not
out
recruit the
recruited.
Whippeal, fellas?
Right. And I mean,
Kids
like,
go out and
obviously, you're
recruit
going
the
to get out
Whippeal.
recruited by Penn State, but you have plenty of talent in your own backyard. They refuse to go get it. Their fan base doesn't show up to games, therefore, they don't make any money. So, like, it is a complete disaster in Pitt right now. You were making fun of WVU all week.
They play at a stadium that they play at a pro stadium. It's the most neutered environment you've ever seen. It's
Right.
terrible.
And then you see Pitt fans complaining about, oh, the stadium's empty. Well, please go to a Pitt game and look at the student section. It is completely full. I was at the Duquesne game. It was completely full of Pitt students. Pitt students are not the issue. It's the Pitt alumni that refuse to go to the games and then sit up and complain about why Pitt's bad and why they don't have the money
Is it
to.
is it that they don't go to games, or is that we simply don't have 70,000 fans to go pack a stadium? Like we need to be playing with what like a Duke or Wake Forest stadium of like between 30 and 50K attendance.
Yeah, but how often do they
And
get
actually,
50?
guys, if you didn't, for the guys that aren't from Pittsburgh on this, so Luke and Caleb, there actually used to be something called Pitt Stadium, and it held 40,000 people. And when my aunt went to Pitt, that's what the stadium was called. And my dad and my uncle and my grandpa had season tickets to Pitt Stadium, and they said it was the most wonderful thing of all time. And then we
Pitt
tore
Stadium
down,
apparently was amazing.
amazing, amazing. Pitt 40,000, it was awesome. And then Pitt Stadium gets torn down, and they put in the Peterson Event Center. So now we have the volleyball team plays on the old basketball court, and the Pitt uh, men's basketball team plays on a different basketball court. They're both really expensive arenas. One could have just been redone, and then you could have just redone the field
Well,
house and then redone Pitt Stadium. It's just,
well,
dude,
good
where it
thing,
is, it's in flummox.
good thing Pitt
Go
put in
Pitt
like
lacrosse. Like that's
a
all I'm in for.
gazillion dollars into that, whatever it's called. They're the reason
The
that they're so
Olymp,
behind on
the
NIL.
Olympic, yeah, the Olympic things.
Yeah, like
They care
I'm
about.
sorry, but like they put in all this money to like I don't want to say anything that's going to offend anyone, but like
Come on,
their
say it,
prior
say it.
their NIL priorities are not in line. They put all this money into what's it called, the
It's like the
Victor's Village or
yeah,
something.
Victory Heights,
They're
Victory Heights.
behind on NIL because of that, and it's bad. It's really bad. Like you need to focus on football. Football makes the money, it drives the revenue. You need to buy out. I don't even know if he has a buyout because he's been there for so long. And they get rid of Narduzzi. I mean, that game was like who wanted to lose more. Like it
The
was
next
horrible.
the next I talk about Pitt is Pitt women's lacrosse fall ball. That's what I'm excited for. So,
Yeah, and hopefully Pitt hoops is good.
nah.
It was like the biggest pillow fight I've ever watched.
I mean, I watched two Pitt basketball games last year in person, and it was another sad product. Enough about Pitt. I'm sorry, guys. You guys didn't
I got,
get to talk for.
This is a Pitt podcast. It's fine.
Yeah.
yeah, I got two things to say. First, there was definitely a football game played. That was about as much as I can say. That was a football game. Second off, me and Duska were on it. West Virginia lost to Ohio on purpose, so Pitt came in there a little sleeper, a little snooze fest. And they got bit by Rich Rod and the Bulldogs.
What?
But genuinely one of the worst football games I've ever seen. That was genuinely horrible. This one in the LSU Florida game would be like what you showed somebody that if you didn't want them to get into college football, except for the ending. The overtime celebration was sick, but that was certainly a football game. But
I think it would be the first zero Chalai overtime game of all, like ever.
Yeah.
yeah, not great.
Does
Pretty
anybody
funny to
know?
watch though.
I couldn't believe that like WVU like took Nico out of the game and was like, "All right, Scotty Fox, here you go."
Well,
And
I
the
think
kid,
Apparently
I think
Nico got hurt.
yeah, I think he was in the protocol.
oh, was he?
Apparently he
Well,
Yeah,
got
I'm
then the
pretty
hurt
next
sure.
because
guy
I
came in,
was confused
Henderson.
too.
Oh,
That
I
guy was
know, but I
horrible.
read an article like they're playing. They've been playing multiple quarterbacks every
They
week.
have been playing,
Yeah,
but
but
I
I
was
think he
watching
got
the
a
podcast
concussion.
and they said he got
Eli got
hurt.
hurt too.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe the articles.
Well, I'm sadly, not sadly, we had the Georgia game on the big TV, and so I like out of respect to the rest of the house, I had to pick him on mute. So I was confused when the quarterback went out.
Yeah. Um, Daska, I'm sure you probably don't have a lot of anything else to say.
Just glad pick him. I
Oh,
appreciate Arch for selecting that. I just tailed. I'm merely tailed.
yeah. I'm so sad on Pick'em.
Glad we got the result though.
Art, you're incredible on Pick'em. You're
Yeah, I don't know,
incredible.
man. Sometimes I just got a feeling.
Um,
I wish I'd put money on these feelings sometimes.
yeah, right.
It would be
There
nice.
none of them are on the Arch Madness. All your good picks.
No, two plus seven outrights that I called, and I just either money line just don't. But
I know they don't show up on the Substack. We got to get
no,
those
they
on the
don't.
Substack. Um, the
Yeah.
next game I just want to do a quick hit on was Ole Miss Arkansas. I'm sure not a lot of people watched this game just because of all the other games that were happening. Um, but this was a damn good football game. A damn good football game. Arkansas came into Ole Miss, and we actually got a wonderful quarterback gameplay. Taylor Green of Arkansas was really good, and then Trinidad Chambliss, Ferris State D2 national champion, comes into the game. He starts the game. Austin Simmons is like ruled out. He starts the game and looked miles better and miles ahead of Austin Simmons in his development. And it's a Kentucky versus one's a road game against Kentucky, another a home game against Arkansas. I don't know. I would start Chambliss. I thought he was that good. He was 21 for 29. He had 353 passing yards and a touchdown, and then he had 62 rushing yards with 2 touchdowns on the ground. So he had 3 total touchdowns, over 400 plus yards of offense. He was awesome. They have a homestand where they play the state of Louisiana, Tulane, and then LSU. This game was a good football game, and I just wanted to shout out Trinidad Chambliss, and I wonder kind of what they do going forward because he just gave them a different level of execution. And the one thing I will say is, like, when you win a national championship, no matter what level, he played for a really good Ferris State program. They're actually ranked ahead of 20 teams in the FBS on like the ESPN. What's that thing called, Arch? Like the FP plus?
FPI.
Yeah, the FPI. And they're ranked ahead of like 20 like FBS teams. Ferris State is like they're North Dakota State of Division II. So you know, he was really good. I just wanted to shout him out because it was one of the best quarterback performances I think we saw this week. And I think it'll just go under the rug. And then everybody's just assuming Austin Simmons just gets his job back. So I just wanted to like throw that out there. Is it crazy to just be like, Chambliss might just be a little bit better?
I mean, I don't think Simmons in the Kentucky game, at least, there was nothing there that made you go, okay, this guy has to be the starting quarterback of this team, no matter what, for them to succeed, especially when you have an option like Chambliss available. Simmons was kind of inaccurate, threw a couple bad picks in that game. Obviously, he's a younger guy, less experience. But if Ole Miss wants to be a serious contender, that's a serious conversation that they should definitely have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say Simmons' decision making has been really subpar, and I thought Chambliss did a good job. Also, I thought Taylor Green played probably the best game I've seen him play, which was super
He's
impressive
good.
to see. It was awesome to see. I don't really like. I think Arkansas is in a pretty good place. Tough schedule aside, I think Taylor Green has definitely showed some strides of improvement. But it was a really entertaining game. Arkansas, if you didn't know, like if people who didn't watch, the viewers, they had a chance to win, and their receiver got stripped with like a minute and a half left. Like they were driving down 6, and if they score a touchdown, you would basically win the game.
I
And their
wonder
receiver
how
got stripped in their own territory. Well, in Ole Miss territory.
the
But
fact
yeah.
that Arkansas is like a bottom feeder of the SEC is insane because they're really good.
Yeah, I think they're gonna like it like they did last year. I could totally see them flipping someone at night at home.
I've got Sam. I'm gonna ask kind of like a you question, like a hypothetical. Like, let's say they go 6-6. Like, do you fire Sam Pittman or do you kind of just I- how
Yeah,
viable?
because
How viable are they? Is it worth everybody leaving the program, bringing in a new coach, and restarting from zero when you're Arkansas and you're already in the bottom tier of the SEC as it pertains to financial and just recent how you've played this decade,
I think you are partially right, partially wrong. I think where you're
this century
partially wrong,
actually.
where you like they have it a bottom feeder, so I guess you could the argument could be made of like, well, they're already at the bottom, so like there's only up to go. So finding a coach wouldn't change that much. Where you are wrong is they have infinite money. They have Jerry Jones and the Tyson family and the Walmart family all as donors to that program. So they will be able to go and buy whatever head coach that they want to go buy. So I personally believe that Arkansas will be in the mindset of like they they are going to make they're going to be they're going to have a better coach next year than Sam Pittman, regardless of their record this year, unless they go like 9-3. I think they're going to be under the mindset of like whoever we bring in, players are going to want to stay for him, and he's going to bring guys with him. Whether they go make some crazy like some in-house or not in-house, like another hire from another team, or they go get a guy like Gruden, um, or someone they believe would be able to have success right away. Because I don't think money is the issue
Wait,
for
wait.
Arkansas.
So you believe in like the elite upside of the Arkansas program? Because I guess that's like where I guess I kind of misconstrued my words in terms of like, I mean, yeah, they do have resources. Great point. Like I'm wrong there. But is it is it a better idea to let Pittman stay there and then on any given year you could go 9-3 on like the best of years go 9-3 and make the playoffs and versus like I don't know the risk you take getting somebody else in there and it's a tough
No,
job.
because like you,
It's a tough job. Like we saw Mississippi State like kind of just
yeah, like
go through that and um I feel like Mississippi State and Arkansas are on like similar levels, but um you know I
yeah,
I
no,
don't
wonder.
I
think if
agree with you.
I don't know if there's a path for. I think it's just hard in the SEC, even if you have infinite money. I don't know if there's a
Exactly.
path for Arkansas to climb out of their current tier. Maybe like you said, on the off year, like off chance year, they can go 9-3, shock some people, maybe sneak into the playoffs one year. But like outside of that,
That's their ceiling, right?
even if you have
No,
money,
yeah,
like
I
how do you
agree with that.
build this program into like a serious national
I don't think
contender?
I don't
That's the
think you
bit,
can.
yeah.
Which is my point of like
Which is
Sam
a
Pittman's
shame, but like it's
he's a
kind of
great
just the
he's like a
reality.
great human. Everybody loves him. He's a good football coach. They recruit well enough in the SEC, and they give themselves a chance every like on a lot of games they play. They went into Ole Miss, who I think is going to be good, and I think it's going to be a contender in the SEC, at least like for the top four spot, and they gave them like, everything they could handle and more.
Yeah, I just think that internally there's probably conversations of like we've been mediocre for how long. Like they internally definitely believe that that they can be an elite college football program. Like there's no like I would hope that internally they think that.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean,
And they definitely have the resources to where like I think they I think that what will be said is like how much lower can we go, basically.
yeah,
Even though like maybe in the back of their mind they might know that, you know what, maybe we can't win a natty, but to the like board, I guess that they would
yeah.
I think that they're gonna go out and make it higher. Just makes a lot of
There's also
sense.
kind of like a basketball element to it as well, because I mean they're kind of
Great point, Jessica. Great point.
that's where they're on the national stage every year, and they put together good squads every year. They have Coach Cal, so
Right, when they
uh,
went out and did it with Coach Cal, I would think they would go out and do the same thing.
that's true.
Fair point.
Especially if they have the infinite money glitch, like
Yeah,
They had like I
you can
think
do
that's
anything
something
with
that
that.
a lot of people don't not understand. I don't think people realize that Arkansas literally has infinite money.
yeah,
I mean, it's an awesome brand, so
yeah.
I mean, I
Right.
hope
So like,
they
if you don't
yeah.
think if like they would get rooted in there as someone that could go recruit really well for a couple of years, that in their mind that I bet you in their mind they're like, oh, we'll bring in Gruden. They'll get a couple of big time recruits. We'll
Yeah, I'm
get the
not sure
bar
about the
still
Gruden
following.
hire.
I'm just saying as a hypothetical.
It would also be cool if they were in the Big 12, but
True. Oh,
it's another
if you just
podcast.
put them
Yeah.
in the Big 12, yeah,
Yeah.
imagine how good that program would be. They would be national contenders every year.
Yeah.
So I want to run a list by you guys real quick, and it's just it's the top 8/9 quarterbacks that I've watched in the SEC so far. My like week 3 top SEC quarterbacks and this is mostly of like games played this year. Um, there's one guy I gave like a little bit of a nod to just because I've seen him do it. So my 1 was John Mateer. My 2 was Marcel Reed. My 3 was Gunnar Stockton. My 4 was Joey Aguilar. My 5 was Garrett Nussmeier. That's the one where it's like he did play pretty well against Clemson, although they're kind of been sputtering. I kind of believe in him in whatever. He's had a couple seasons of proven things. My 6 was Blake Shapen. What he did in the Arizona State game was unbelievable. My 7, Bo Pribula. His numbers are unbelievable. Like we'll see, but my 8 was Trinidad Chambliss. That was one of the best quarterback performances I've seen. And my 9 was Taylor Green. But I think it's crazy when you like those are like my top 8, 9. You guys can pick at where you see fit, but there's no Lagway. There's no Arch. And I think a lot of people would be pretty surprised by that at this point in the year. And again, this is very fluid. They're going to play a lot more football, but it's been a little bit crazy to see the SC quarterback play shake out. And I was going to think about doing the Big Ten quarterback play rankings, but nobody's played a soul in the Big Ten. So Penn State beat Villanova.
Pretty
I
covered
don't.
by
I mean,
by Villanova.
Yeah, super gritty cover.
I
It
don't
seems
hate.
we're like,
I
go
don't
ahead.
hate those rankings, but I might be a little early for Marcel to be number 2.
I mean, no,
Definitely.
no. This is just what. No, it's not predictive in any way. It's
Yeah, I
only
understand. I still I don't know. I think I would even so Gunnar Stockton's played however many starts he's had. I trust him more in bigger spots just based off the end of last year and his play last weekend. I would trust him decision making wise and ability to make big throws. I would trust him over Marcel Reed right now. I would rank him, but like obviously they're interchangeable
you'd
though. Like
flip
you
2
ranked him
and
pretty
3.
high. Yeah, but I mean overall not a bad list.
I just
I
think this
would
is
say
where
one.
like,
I think you're missing Ty Simpson,
Yeah, yeah, you definitely
but
put
I
some
don't know
time.
where you put him because I don't know. There's really not like a good to great quarterback in the SEC. It's just a bunch of just like any guy could. If you put a guy like if you plug a lot of those guys on a lot of different teams, the results would probably be pretty similar. Not a lot of like game changers. There's a lot of game managers and upper like echelon game managers, I guess.
Yeah.
Like in the right in the right system, they'll perform well.
This might be a bad quarterback class, and it was originally thought to be pretty good.
Oh, it's probably horrendous.
Yeah,
I mean, I also like, I think people are a little bit too quick to judge right now. Like, we are also in week 3.
that's true.
Yeah,
And we're
no,
like,
I
we're,
agree.
we're
I
going out and
agree.
saying that these guys are ass when they played one bad game.
Yeah, I'm still on
Like, look
Lagway.
at the
I
leaps
still
that
have my
like just
Lagway stock.
I
like
can't
look at
move
leaps
past
that
that Lagway
like
game.
guys have taken throughout seasons. Like we are in it is September
Very
15th.
fair. Very fair.
And
Yeah,
and people are saying that this quarterback class is going to be ass. Like we are not even in conference play.
I wanted to put this
It
list
still might
out.
be ass though.
Yeah, but like it could what if some guys take a big leap and get better as the season goes on? I mean, these guys this is their first time against actual competition in a lot of these guys' cases.
Fair point though, Duska.
So
I agree with you right now. Oh, we got to see it. Think about last year, the quarterback class. Like by this point, you were like, all right, Cam Moore's pretty good.
yeah, I mean
That was about it though. Yeah.
Not a great quarterback class.
how
Yeah,
much substance are you putting into this alleged Nussmeier injury that came out today?
Didn't even see it.
First I've heard. What's
Yeah,
your
Brian
take
Kelly
on
said that
it?
he's been dealing with a torso injury all year.
Interesting.
I'll read that. Seemed a
What
little.
Anybody have any other games they wanted to shed light on?
I was going to ask real quick, and it kind of off topic. Who would be else QB1 for this class then, if you're like judging off this draft class alone? I think it's got to be Carson Beck, right?
I would probably say Mateer based on what we've seen.
NFL though, like, are you like NFL's like? I think Mateer is like the definition of a good college quarterback.
I think I'd lean back too, but Mateer, I mean, it's early for Mateer. I need to see a little more, but he could definitely, he's got potential.
Like, there's just not
QB1
any. Like,
potential.
Beck is the most experienced guy in college football.
I
Like,
want to
football
see.
wise.
I want to see Sam Levitt play a couple more games.
Yeah.
I want to see him play some more.
I don't know what Sawyer Robertson's eligibility is, but that guy's a gamer.
Dude, gamer. There's like, you're right, Arch. There's so many like dynamic, good college quarterbacks, but when you're like NFL, you're trying to look for the size, the pocket passing, the like, reading the football field. Like, there's not as many of those guys, but you have a million like Byron Browns, Devin Dampiers, like so.
NFL's in trouble because quarterback is already at an all-time low. It's only going to get worse before it gets better. You're going to see
Brian
15
Kelly says
Jalen
Garrett
Hurts running
Nussmeier is
around
going
the
to be able to
NFC.
score so
I don't know, dude. Think about how many guys from 2 years ago might hit as like draft prospects. Like Caleb Williams, I don't know about him, but like Jaden Daniels, help me out here, guys. We got obviously Drake May.
I mean, I thought Rattler actually played pretty well
Oh
yesterday.
Jesus.
I think Penix is
I'm not saying
good.
he's going to pay out. He
Penix,
did play well.
Penix,
Penix is
McCarthy.
good. Mo Picks.
Oh yeah, Bo Nix. He's pretty solid, and I think like JJ could be good.
McCarthy. No, I was being that sarcastic. He played pretty bad last night, but there's also room to improve.
Yeah, a lot of
Game
room.
two. I'll give
Falcons put him in a
time.
blender though.
Yeah, true. Hey, and then I want a couple. The one game I wanted to shout out was Tulane beating Duke in Darius Mentz's homecoming. That's just sad. You can't lose that game if you're Manny Diaz. Like
Duke looked bad.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
they looked like they just got out physical. What's up? Oh, who's that guy? Like Tulane's coach, G5.
Summerall.
G5K.
John
Yeah,
Summerall.
John Summerall. Big win for him.
Well, should we unveil the
running back of the week?
Yes, I would love to unveil that.
So, without further ado, speaking of this game, we decided, tough week. Like we said, Haynes King could literally win every single week, but what's the fun in that,
He's the running back of the week emeritus.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, we are introducing this week's running back of the week is none other than Mr. Jake Retzlaff of Tulane. And let me move my head so you can see the graphic for effect. That is a menorah in the middle. 17 carries.
Can we please get that on the Instagram?
In 4 rushing touchdowns. 4 years ago, if this was him, like Avery Johnson was, you would have put a Heisman ticket in for him. What a performance for Tulane. Jake Retzlaff just coming to play against Summerall's old quarterback. Fantastic performance.
Oh,
congrats, Retzlaff.
Congrats, Retzlaff. RB of the week.
Congrats,
really proud of you. Really proud of you. And
I have a feeling that this is not going to be the last time we see you.
You might need to copyright Tulane, Arch.
It's already been said before, but it is funny. I did not. I wish I was that funny to come up with that joke, but I mean,
D.E. Eisman, that was your best.
Yeah.
Do we want to do a Superdog update as well?
Yeah. Let's do the Superdog update. For me, I just want to say Missouri State covers again. I just kept going back into the well, and Superdog water keeps coming out somehow. Mo State covers against SMU. Good job, boys. Way to ride.
Yeah.
I
finally got on board this week.
Flashes. Yeah, they do. They almost went outright. Which
I know.
Is insane. Mine was just don't want to talk about it. Their game got canceled. They got beat by a good.
Didn't Temple? Yeah, was it Temple, Oklahoma?
Yeah.
What was it, Hurricane?
No, I don't think they played that game. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a Hurricane.
No, too much violence in Philadelphia. They canceled the game.
Too much violence at Lincoln Financial Field against the Owls for them to cover.
Hurts didn't run enough touchdowns in this weekend.
Yeah, unfortunately for the American people, unlike Arch's game, my game did occur, and we did have to watch the Lagway disaster class, 5 picks, and no Super Bowl for me. So thanks, TJ.
Um, the next, the next thing we'll hit after the on the Superdog is two coaches got fired.
Mm.
You never want to see a guy lose their job, but two guys lost their job. Brent Pry loses his job as a Virginia Tech Hokies head coach. 16-20 overall record. Hang the banner for the 2023 7-6 season. We thought Virginia Tech might be frisky, but it turns out putting all your eggs in the development of a running back fifth year who has potential can have its repercussions. I think the job is somewhat attractive, but out of a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably put it at a 5 or a 6 attractiveness scale. I wonder what you guys think about that. And then Deshaun Foster, UCLA coach, got fired. Who could have thunk it? Who could have called this when this happened? Brian Kelly. I mean, not Brian Kelly. Chip Kelly leaves a UCLA program where the administration is just not in line at all with the new college football era where NIL is very important. So Chip Kelly aboard ship. They hired Deshaun Foster. Foster was put in an untenable situation. In all their games this year, they've played New Mexico, Utah, and UNLV. So two G5 teams and a Utah. They've been outscored 108-43. This team was destined to fail. In 2024, they had the 90th ranked recruiting class. It was the lowest in all of Power Four. Southern Miss, Troy, and UAB are just some of the teams that out recruited them. Sad culture. They give up. They can't tackle. They have nothing going right. I said the program attractiveness was a 4 out of 10 only because of its location, because it's in Southern California. I like Foster, but he was put in an impossible position. He'll make a good coordinator somewhere. I hope Nico and his dad are enjoying this well thought out decision.
Question: if any of you guys were a head coach right now, which
no to both jobs.
You are the Duquesne head coach, and you get offered.
Well, they're not getting
the UCLA and the Virginia Tech job. Which one do you choose?
Virginia Tech.
If
Virginia
UCLA is dialing Duquesne's code, blow up Southern California.
I think from a Virginia Tech perspective, that job is attractive because I'm maybe a little bit more than 5 or 6, just because the pedigree of that program. And in theory, that's an area where they should be able to dominate recruiting in the DMV, in Pennsylvania, in North Carolina, in Virginia. Like, they should be top, especially in Virginia and the DMV. Like, they should be top dog, getting all the top talent there. And I think they lose a lot to, obviously, you're not going to get, if there's 5 stars and like high ranked 4 stars in those areas, like, those guys are going to go to the big national programs. Like, Penn State will get a lot of those guys. The SEC schools get a lot of those guys.
We get a lot of DMV guys.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. Like, Virginia Tech, they shouldn't be losing DMV guys to South Carolina in theory. Like,
they need to get at least back on the radar of those guys.
100%. That's like, they should be, especially competing against the teams in that area, like the Marylands and the UVAs of the world. Like, every single talented guy on those rosters that are from those areas, they should be going to Virginia Tech, I think. And I mean, that if you get the right person in there, that's kind of where you can see the path to success. And that's got to be the biggest focus in this hiring process, is finding a guy that can, like, there's so much talent in the DMV, in Virginia, in North Carolina, like, being able to pick up some of that talent that they've been losing in those areas is going to be a big part of this next coach. And I think that makes the job a little attractive if you're a guy that can go out and recruit his ass off.
Yeah.
If you're John Summerall and Virginia Tech calls, do you take the VTech job or do you stay at Tulane?
No.
I think he has a bigger job coming his way than Virginia.
That's
Also,
what I was
Louisiana probably has better talent than Virginia.
I think Virginia Tech should call Bob Chesney and give him whatever he wants. But
Let the readers,
Yeah, I
let the
wouldn't hate
listeners
that.
know who Bob
Yeah.
Chesney is, the head coach of.
JMU's head coach, old Holy Cross guy, FCS winner. There hasn't really been a letdown since Signetti left JMU to go to
Already recruits the area well.
Yeah, he can recruit
Yeah.
that area for Virginia Tech.
already he
That'd
gets
be a
the most
great
out of his
hire, dude.
players.
That'd be a
Also,
great
if they
hire.
hired him, they'd probably get all of JMU's transfers with him because like
Yeah.
JMU kind of is like it's like a coach committee kind of thing. Like whenever a coach gets hired, they just bring the fellas
Yep.
over.
Yeah.
So you could instantly jumpstart kind of like a Belichick at North Carolina, but like actually has some substance to it when you bring in a bunch of new players, but actually could like win in the ACC.
We know
Also,
Sluka's next destination if Chesney gets hired at
Uh,
VTech.
I don't know if you guys have
Hopefully,
seen
hopefully to like a compliance guy there, like a GA.
What'd you say,
there is
Sam?
a lot of chatter right now about um like obviously Beamer being their top candidate. Now I don't think he would leave, but that has been kind of talked about the past like since they fired Brent Pry. I've been reading a lot of chatter about
That is kind of
Beamer.
interesting.
He won't go.
It feels
Another underrated.
unrealistic. Yeah.
If
There's
Shane
no
Beamer
way.
leaves, he's just unserious about.
Yeah, the only reason he would go would be like because of their family thing. But people don't talk like there was a messy ending with Frank Beamer at Virginia Tech, and also like he has little kids in Columbia, and I that would just be ironic. But
No, I don't think. Yeah, they just
Alex Golish is on here. Ryan Silverfield, the Memphis
no.
coach.
They're not. None of those.
I don't think
They're
he's.
not
I don't
getting
think
goals.
I don't think any big name coach should really be jumping
You're
to
gonna get
hire
like a
Alex
Mac.
Golish, in
You're
my
gonna get like a
opinion.
Mac coach, or
Yeah,
or,
or Bob Chesney's on here.
or Bob Chesney. Yeah, yeah.
Charles Huff.
Dude, if you
Charles
go
Huff.
after Alex Golish, you're basically just telling yourself that you're going to be fine being like 9-3 or something like that is average. Golish is the problem with him and Heupel's off. Like Heupel's also developed in advance. The Golish offense is too gimmicky to be sustainable for like in like real deal top college football. So if you're going after a guy like that, you're basically giving yourself a program ceiling, but you're also like elevating your floor.
You think?
But I just don't see it. Yeah,
I don't know if I
it's
agree
just
with
not
that.
like, dude. The way that Tennessee's different this year because I think they have the athletes and they also have the skill. Like, and they have their team is a lot better. But the Hendon Hooker Tennessee when they had this, they were never going to be able to beat the top teams because their offense is it's so like I guess like unrepeatable in my opinion.
I guess
It's just not
they do,
sustainable the way
but
it goes.
the thing is they snap the ball quick. That's like the what you have to adjust your eyes to, but they still run the ball effectively, which is like to me a balanced offense, no matter how fast or slow you snap the ball, is like you can that's a simple repeatable process. If you get good at it, I wonder how it evolves too as like you get better quarterbacks, right? So if Alex
Yeah.
Golish, like he's got if he's got what's our guy's name? I just blanked on him.
Brown.
Yeah, Byron Brown. What right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, he's probably not going to go play in the NFL. But if you go to, Florida, the Lagway, how does his offense look? Does it translate? Like, I would say maybe yes. But we'll see.
Yeah, no, I think that's what Tennessee's going through right now with the scaling of a better quarterback, but I just think you're limiting yourself if you go after a guy that runs the veer and shoot like that.
I mean, we've saw
Lagway,
Art Briles and Miles On run it, so we've seen it succeed to a point.
how short do you think Lagway's leash is?
I think it's long, so
Long.
yeah.
Long time. I mean, dude,
I think he's shown enough.
If he's not good, if he's not the truth, like the program's screwed.
They'll just tank for the first pick next year.
Yeah, and then it'll just ruin their rapport as sustainable quarterback building program. Do we want to get into? I don't know if you guys can read this, but this abomination. Does anybody want to get into that?
Yeah, well, there's just like a few things that jump out, like South Florida not being ranked after losing to Miami's ranked number 4. USF has beaten Boise State and Florida. What their one losses to Miami. Like, how are they not ranked?
Yeah, I got one other thing. Again, I nothing makes me more happy than hate watching this football team, but um, Penn State has
Huh.
played my two sisters and Villanova, and they are the second team in the country. I understand they might be that, but that doesn't mean there's a you when we're doing an AP poll and we're polling what the team is as it stands right now, as their current record is, and who they've played. You cannot bake in preseason rankings into this poll. And like it's egregious that Penn State is number 2 in the country. They have not played anybody, they have not beat anybody. And you've got the U and Georgia and LSU and Ohio State with real wins. Oregon doesn't have a real win. The Seminoles do. Texas, they're 2-1.
Yeah,
Like
I think
Texas is
that's the worst.
egregious. Illinois. Who have
Illinois
they
is
beat?
pretty awful.
Who have they beat?
They beat Duke after 5
This
turnovers.
this poll should look like Ohio State, Miami, Georgia, Florida State, Texas A&M, then LSU. LSU being at 3 is probably a little high, but I understand them. I understand them being where they are. I don't have that big of a problem with it. The OU Iowa State Ole Miss is like I get that. Bama being at 14, ahead of the Utes. I don't know.
They'll find out soon.
Head of
Yeah, we will.
Vandy.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah, how
Vandy.
is Bama ahead of Tennessee? Like you just look at both of their losses. Like
Oh, I
Yeah.
mean, and then the Wolverines. Obviously, there's some impressive win they had. Oh wait,
They scored 63 on Central Michigan.
big. Notre Dame's 0-2. So like, I just that as a principle, you cannot have them in the top 25.
I would
in
have
my
them in the
opinion.
top 10 if I controlled the AP poll. I don't care.
I would have them like the 10. I think I'd have them between A&M and Tennessee. Iowa State at
See, why
12.
not?
That's a good God. I didn't even see that when I
What we
first looked
talking
at
about?
it. That's horrible.
Let's do a little Notre Dame thing. I think they are that. I think they're that good.
yeah, I
I
agree
think
with
they're
you.
good. They just played 2 good teams to start the season
I
when like
played
even
2.
Georgia. Georgia played Marshall and Austin
But
Peay.
why not?
Like
Why not just let them win their way back? Why
Yeah,
not just
like
make it fair
you're
for
0
everybody? Why
2.
don't you
Well,
just
they're
Doesn't
win
giving
matter
their
them
right
the
way
now.
back?
because
runway to
the
win their way back.
because
No,
the
but
AP poll can't
that's
do
not
that.
what we're doing though. That's not what this should be. It shouldn't be we give teams the runway because of how they lost or um
Okay, I think
the
that goes against
preconceived
your
notion.
argument then, because the 2 games they lost were by less. They've lost by combined 4 points against 2 like top 5 teams.
I understand, but the way I would just do it, I just they're 0-2. And I think you let them just win their way back. And once they're like 3-2, 4-2, like then like they just start climbing. And it's more reputable that way instead of just keeping them there. And then whenever they do start winning, like the upward mobility is just not going to be there. You know what I'm saying? Do you not see like where my logic is heading here?
No,
Like
I
Yeah,
understand.
I do think
I
Notre
understand what
Dame's
you're
going to be
saying,
that.
but like if Notre Dame goes 4-2, like they played nobody for like a few weeks. My
But
thing
at
is
least they're
like
four and two.
what win is going to make them jump back into the poll and according to AP voter. You know what I
Well,
mean?
dude, if they're 4-2, don't you think it's respectable if they're like at 14? And then they go into like, and if they're like 6-2 going into the USC game, and it's like 14 versus 8, and you're like,
Yeah.
all right. And then
Well,
the winner of that game is like, that's a
I
huge
think
win, and
yeah.
that catapults
if
you
they
up.
win
I
4
think
games in dominant fashion, and their 2 losses are to Miami and A&M, like
They can be a top 10 team.
that's why
I
I would
think I
keep
would
them.
rather them
That's
just
why I
go
would
like
have them
10 to
higher up, and
15.
then they can slowly work their way back in the top 10. But like,
I'd rather have them like 10 to 15, and whenever they win those 4 games, just keep them at the exact same spot because they were supposed to. You know?
Or you leave them at like, you put them outside of the top 25, and then when they do win those four games, you put them between 10 and 15.
Yeah, but you know they can't do that to a big brand.
Yeah, that's my point.
I think the
well,
most
Notre Dame and SC,
egregious.
the USC and Notre Dame are going to be in the top 15 when they play. Like that's what they're setting this up for. This is all the setup for TV.
But you
Yeah.
could
Like
still set it
Illinois,
up.
Indiana, like is that the ninth and the 19th best team in the country? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But like they play each other
It
this
was
week,
like the
so
Kansas State Iowa State game. Like
oh,
they made
100%.
that a ranked matchup for the Aer Lingus Classic, and just Kansas State's sad.
That's another thing we didn't even. That was the worst. Man, I'm not even going to get into that. That was bad. They're horrible.
I think the most egregious is how, like, on what planet has Texas looked better than A&M?
Yeah,
Or
100%.
Like,
OU.
or Oklahoma,
The
or like
the burnt
Ole Miss
orange
for
and
that
white
matter.
horn logo.
It looks way better than A&M's.
Arch
Like,
Manning
oh my
at
gosh,
quarterback.
it's like on everywhere. I like see it firsthand. Oh my.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. The problem with like this is like they use it in the college football rankings.
Yeah, it like makes it for the preliminary college football rankings.
Yeah, so it's like there should be a better way of doing this. And people probably shouldn't have the vote that they do have. Like that woman,
How about that chick? Yeah, that woman that literally has South Carolina at 10.
nothing against women. There's women that probably know the sport that deserve, but being like, oh, I didn't watch any games, but like it's like fun for me to do. Like I just throw my ballot in. It's like
Like the
Let's start
votes
the
easily
campaign
come
now.
around.
We all four of us, AP, Associated Press, give us votes. We
we
Give
deserve
watch
us
the
them.
one
games.
vote. Give us one vote for
Yeah.
this podcast.
Yes, and we'll make a
No,
consensus
we're
thing.
not all going to agree all the time. So let's just make it
Well,
4 individual votes, AP.
And just
we're
take
not
four.
asking for much. Just 4 ballots every week.
We could do
Just
we
4
could do a
ballots to
little
the AP top
most of
25.
each person's top 25. I do a top 25
Yeah.
each week.
Let's
I
do that.
actually,
Let's do that when the playoff, the playoff
Let's get that
rankings
later in the
start.
season
Yeah.
because maybe at that point, I don't know. Maybe I can license out the editing.
how long do this edits take you?
Anywhere from like 20 to 30 minutes. It's really not that big. Once I just get the hardest was getting the week 1 template set. Now I just
Yeah.
changed the logos and stuff. But that
Yeah.
week 1 was like turmoil. That was awful.
Speaking of
Once I can
edits, should we move on to our preview section before it gets
Yeah.
too late?
Oh shit! It's already 10.
Wait, time out,
10:50.
time out.
We've been
Time out.
we went deep in the recap.
I want to. I don't know about this, but dude, we could just like, we could hop on a pod like tomorrow. I don't know what anybody's got, but and do the recap, like a 40-minute recap, or we can just bang through it now.
I'm cool with.
We
I
could
mean,
also
didn't
like.
do either.
I think
I'm
with
cool
the
with doing
amount that we
another.
talk-
Unless
What
anyone's
did you say,
opposed.
Dustin?
What you?
I said I'm cool with doing one tomorrow.
Yeah,
Unless
Yeah,
anyone's
I can
like
do
just
that
like a
tomorrow.
40-minute like quick one.
Yeah.
Because dude, this was great content. Like that was the
was.
best pod we've ever done. In terms
Honestly,
of
we
just,
could
like,
start dividing up. We could start dividing up the pod.
Recap and preview.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
last
Last
time
time
we
I
do
don't
an
hate
hour.
that.
we had to fly through everything last time.
Yeah. The recap takes forever too. Like we
Yeah.
can just make this make the recap
Like,
pod the long
3
pod and then
recap pod.
we'll do like a quick preview pod. We can do a quick preview pod
Because
too.
nobody really gives a fuck about the previews. They just want like a little something,
Yeah.
which is all
I
you're
agree.
They
doing.
just want to
We're
look at the.
giving a
They just
little
want to look at the
excitement.
graphic. They just want to look at the graphic and see what
100%.
logo we pick.
Yeah, that's exactly what people want.
Also gives us better time to get some more intel because I don't know
Yeah.
who my super dog is going to be right now.
Oh really?
I
You
just
think
don't
that's
think I
gonna
can
fly?
choose. I don't think I can choose another bad school. Like I cannot watch another football game like that.